welcome back. And Baylor has just landed another commitment coming off of their big official visit weekend as Bingham, Utah, out of Utah, Bingham High School.
South Jordan, yeah.
South Jordan, yep. Offensive lineman George Maile, 2022 class. Maile, yep. Got to remember that. It's so tough to remember, but George Maile committed to the Bears. This is obviously a huge get for the Bears, a borderline consensus 4-star prospect. I know Sikkim 365, we're right around that 4-star territory.
Well, National is at 90 as well.
247, composite-wise, he's a little bit below. I think rivals hold him back a little bit, but huge get out of Utah. So what are some of your early thoughts to a big offensive line commit, which obviously is a big position of need for the Bears?
This is a big one for Eric Mateos, because this is where he had the relationship. He built that relationship, brought him in, got the commitment. You're talking about, again, likely an offensive guard, but someone who is extremely talented and is just a elite level recruit on the O-line for Baylor.
Yeah, and I'm so impressed with what Eric Mateos was able to do in this recruitment. Obviously, he comes to Baylor. He had already talked to George Maile when he was at BYU. I'm not sure if he offered him before he left or was about to offer him, something along those lines, but he kept that relationship with George, and they really continue to just grow that throughout the entire recruiting process. Just getting him on campus was a huge deal. I know a lot of people have been talking USC, Oregon, were kind of where he might be leaning, but TCU and Baylor kind of drew his interest a little bit, and then he obviously took the visit to Baylor over the weekend and decided that this was home. This was the place for him.
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the pictures on social media, there's one out there of him and Zach Pyron, playing Connect 4 together. So it looks like probably Zach did a little work. The rest of the commits on campus did a little work. I mean, a lot of commits were on campus. The two that Emory and Neighbors pulling the trigger first, and now Maile coming in after that.
Yeah, so 6'4", 290, offers from Oregon, TCU, UCLA, USC, and Baylor. That was his final 5, with other offers coming: BYU, Cal, Colorado, Nebraska, Tennessee. A who's who kind of, especially along the West Coast.
Oh yeah, that's a huge offer list.
Yeah, very, very big. I think he's near 15 offers probably, and they're all pretty significant offers too. He didn't go through that phase where he was getting, Houston and Lamar. He really just piled them up.
Yeah.
From Power 5 schools. And
at least 12 Power 5s.
Yeah.
So that's and then BYU, Boise State, those are pretty solid programs as well.
Exactly. And at 6'4", 290, he fills an obvious need on the offensive line. Once again, though, I think we're projecting him to be a guard in his time at Baylor. So, and now you look at the recruiting class, and I mean, yes, Bryce Simpson, you could argue, could be the right tackle in this class. Could be. Even though I think you and I both agree right now, we're probably thinking he's probably a better fit at guard. You have Colton Price, who's definitely a guard. I think Timothy Don, or a center, obviously, for Colton. Timothy Don, guard or center as well.
Yep.
And now George Maile, another guard. So it's starting to narrow down a little bit, it seems, with this recruiting class and kind of the areas they really need to address, which are the tackle position.
Yeah, Alvin Ebosele is pretty much where it's coming down to him, and I think
Nick Hall.
Yeah, it's probably ship might have sailed there.
It might have.
But he's still supposed to come in on an unofficial visit. So that could be somebody that comes down to. And then Austin Kowecki also on campus, and I think that Baylor sits in a good position for him. I mean,
is there a chance he's a right tackle?
There could be a chance. I still have Simpson as a right tackle.
I know, but I think. Do you feel comfortable if this class adds Kowecki, you have right tackle with Simpson, then you add Alvin Ebosele? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think I'd be comfortable with that at that point. Yeah.
Okay, so you're basically deciding Simpson's the right tackle in the class
at this point. I think maybe Don might be able to play. He's got like a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan as well. He might be able to go out there and do that. And there's always the transfer portal. If they have to find somebody else later. I mean, there are kids still showing up in it today, but right now, I think for the high school kids, that's the ones you go after at that point.
Yeah, and I think we're going to know quite a bit next weekend, because I know Baylor is definitely still trying to recruit Neto out of Allen. I think the writing will be on the wall next weekend, whether he comes on an official visit or not.
I agree. I think that's where we are.
I really don't think that he's going to be a kid that drags it out or someone who waits and goes on an unofficial or an official visit by himself. I just don't know that I don't know that I see that. So I would kind of be shocked if he doesn't come on the official visit next weekend, if he is a realistic option.
And the other one, like Nick Morrow. I mean, is that a right tackle?
It could be. Yeah.
I mean, that's somebody that, I mean, even though he's offered defensive end, that could be somebody that they go and bring in.
And he's a recent camp offer. So, he could definitely fit that mold. And I think it's definitely going to be – we're reaching the point where Baylor is deciding we're going to add the guys that want to commit. If you don't want to commit and you're left out, sorry.
Yeah.
That's seriously what it is.
Talked about losing spots, and that's where we are right now.
You're right, and you would hate to lose spots on the offensive line just because, I mean, I would love to take 10.
Yeah, same here. Take as many as you can because, again, we talked about attrition and injuries that continually happen to that position. So there we are.
Yeah, it happens. So now if you look at the class, George Maile becomes commit number 14 in the class. He's currently inside the top 2 or 3, 2 to 4 commits in the class, along with Jordan Neighbors, Trey Emery, and Kyan Roberts-Day as far as ranking-wise. His composite score will be number 2 in the class. So the second highest rated commit makes sense. A great drive blocker, a guy who can get to that second level exceptionally well, and just looks like a mauler. Just an absolute mauler in the trenches, something that Baylor was hoping to get from multiple guys on the roster, and it just has not come. And
it's really strange. I mean, you figured that it would happen sooner or later, but yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, Mateos is doing a better job. You can see a better. The O-line's looking better. It's going to be a little bit though.
And he's recruiting way better.
Yeah, he's recruiting hard. He is working everywhere.
Look at where they're at with these prospects. I mean, the offer lists that these guys have are just not even comparable to past years. I mean, I really, really am pleased with the job that he's done to be in it for guys like Nick Hall, who is a national prospect at this point. Alvin Ebosele, he's very borderline national prospect at this point.
Austin Kawecki,
he's close to that point. Neto is and that's not even just Eric Mateos. That's a lot of Brian Nance as well. But it's still that position. And I wonder, I think you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think recruits, I know Jeff Grimes is technically the tight ends coach, but he's an offensive guru, offensive line guru.
Yeah, he's an O-line, OC. He played O-line.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting to play for an offensive lineman as your OC.
Right. And he prioritizes the offensive line, and I think you're seeing that pay dividends. The fact that they're not coming to the Baylor football program and learning offensive line from Cliff Kingsbury.
No.
You know what I mean? Who's a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, they're learning from an offensive line guy, and when you have him and Mateos in the same room, I think you're just seeing exactly what these guys can do on the trail and the kind of trajectory that I think they're telling these recruits Baylor has, and it's really connecting with them.
Well, any O-lineman likes to hear, run through the guy's face mask. And or through his face or whatever you want. I forgot which one is face mask. But every O-lineman's going to enjoy that. Oh,
absolutely. So commit number 14 in the 2022 class, George Maile out of Bingham High School in South Jordan, Utah, 2022 offensive lineman.